some of the tools you're going to need for this job, this repair, well, is at least one pipe wrench, a torch, a hammer, obviously, to get inside the wall. We're using PEX, so we needed something to cut the pipe. We needed some channel locks. I always do a big and a small. I'm going to end up using this tool for my PEX fittings, just simply because it's going to make it a little easier. It's a 7/8. That's a Craftsman. It's a newer style apparatus of a wrench that they use. We needed a sawzall. Of course, you need pipe sealant. Torch, solder, flux, because downstairs we got copper lines we're going to be tapping into. We needed something to cut the pipe, which you can use your sawzall, or if you got tube cutters you can use those. And then I think that's it. This is a galvanized system. You're going to cut into it. When we take it apart and put it back together, you're going to want to try to take off your aerators to relieve the air. And in a lot of cases I say only run the hot water, because if there's air in the cold water, depending on where you're cutting into the system, it may send the air through the water heater, and then you don't have to deal with lime and debris. Now on this one it's not going to do that, so I'm going to try to turn it on at the bathtub, because the ports inside the bathtub faucet are normally bigger, so any pieces of rust can go through and get freed up and not clog. If it does clog the faucet, you're gonna have to take it apart. So when you turn the water on, turn it on slow. Try to let the water go into the system real slow, so that it don't knock loose any more than what already has been knocked loose. I think that's it. So we cut that hole that we had in our in the soffit. We hit a big, like they put wood in here, big bunch of wood. So we almost went to the side around the living room and cut that hole in there. Then I was like, well, let's go ahead and cut in that wood and see what we got. Well, it's kind of probably good that we did. There's the lines. We would have been able to get to them from there. It just would limit us, because up there is more floor joist, so up there we wouldn't have been able to do anything. But then we get around inside here, and there's the break. So that right there is a freeze break, which don't normally happen on galvanized, but it was in the winter time and they didn't have no heat at all in here, so it ended up happening. So we're in here inspecting the rest of the lines, just making sure, we don't want to come up with a plan of attack, start repairing that one crack and then find that there's more. Of course, I look down through here, the lines look real good, considering they're old galvanized. But, overall everything looks pretty good in there. It looks dry down there. So we're just sitting here hanging out talking about it, and I get to looking, and I see the drywall. This house is funny. They put drywall and then did the plaster, so it must be a way they done it in the 60s or something. But anyway, I got to looking at that drywall over there, and it's obvious. I would have thought maybe bugs had ate it if it didn't look like it was wet. So then I reach around that pipe and I can feel a crack on it. So that means this section that's going from here to the basement is damaged. The other thing is, I look over there on that other line and I can see water coming out of the wood. Ever so slight. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Right there. So that's water that has seeped out of the wood. Now I would have thought that crack there would have sprayed over there, except for the fact that none of that looks wet. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it somewhere here, maybe unscrew it right there. Same thing on the other line. And then we're just going to try to fish some new PEX piping up from the basement in hopes that this is our only hole. But I want to point that out, that it's probably a good idea to look over everything, you know, because we would have just made a repair on the one side and then come to find out that the other side's messed up too. And then in that case, you might as well just ran a new line. So it would have been a waste of time. So thoroughly inspect as much of it as possible. We opened our hole up a little bit bigger. We have to try to cut so these lines don't vibrate a bunch, and we're going to cut on that side of the T so we can still unscrew that fitting or that pipe from the T, and then hopefully work out of the T. Obviously one of these is hot, one of them's cold. From the earlier video, or from the video, you can tell we're just planning on doing both of them. So I've got up in here to where we cut them lines out. Started trying to unscrew that one. If I put too much pressure on it, I'll break the T at the threads there or there. So we gotta be careful. The problem with this one is it's starting to egg shape. I don't know if that gives you an idea of what it's doing, but instead of unscrewing, it's flattening. So I'm gonna heat the threads up right here a whole bunch with my torch and then try to unscrew it, because I really want to work off them threads. And a lot of the one over there, it's gonna be a little bit harder to mess with because it's closer this way. I mean, there's already not that much room up in there, so it's hard to get a pipe wrench in there. I don't think I have a 14 on the truck. I don't know, maybe I do, but either way, it's putting up a fight. It's not coming out like it should. Normally they'll either unscrew real easy, like if they were dripping at the threads, then they would either snap or unscrew real easy from the threads. But you run into stuff like this. So one of the tricks I'm going to try is putting a torch on it to heat it up and then try unscrewing it. Okay, putting the heat on the one did work. This one has already started spinning, and I didn't have to do anything to it. One good sign, because whenever you mess with galvanized, you're worried about every other joint. Just the simple vibration of cutting the pipe, definitely turning it. You can snap a fitting or make another joint leak. Heck, we pulled down on these because these were the sections that shot over from here over to there. And we pulled down on them and you can see that they snapped. Heck, just looking at it, you can see this side of it's black and this side of it's still got a metal look to it. So this side was probably stronger than that side. Yeah, it's there. Give me a second, I'll grab it. Now this one is the piece that I had to heat up and pull out. You can see it's still steaming. You look in there, you can see all the... You see all the rust inside there. But overall, the threads are in really good shape. Like normally these threads are all rotted and corroded. Normally halfway through unscrewing it, those would snap. So we're in pretty good shape, considering. A couple more things I thought about. Being that this is plastic piping, it is going to jar around when faucets are turned off and on. So you're going to want to try to anchor them some way, somehow. And I would say, I mean, like that, they're going to hear that when the toilet shuts off or kicks on. So plastic piping should have hammer resistors in it, or loops on the inside. Or loops, you loop the line to kind of create that hammer resisting effect. But yeah, if you can anchor these some way, somehow, tie them down, put two nails in next to them and put the nails over top of the pipe, whatever you want to do so that they're not jarring around. If you only use one crimp ring, you're going to want to go in that, roughly in the center of where I put mine. You know, in the center of that whole joint. So like I said, on these I went ahead and put two of them just for good measure because it's in the wall. Teflon tape. That blue stuff I use is real thick. If you get the little cheapo stuff from the hardware store, sometimes it's thin. You just don't want to put enough on there to where you can, if it's the real thin stuff, go around it at least 4 to 6 times. If it's that the thicker stuff, I use a brand called Hercules. If it's blue, chances are it's going to be the same brand, or Monster, I'm sorry. I think it's made by the same people that make Hercules stuff. At any rate, it's Monster, it's blue. Go around it, you know, 3 to 4 times. You could probably get away with 2 with blue stuff. I don't normally like Teflon tape in freshwater applications. Sometimes it's nice to use. Being that we weren't doing any heat, you know, we weren't soldering anything up there, we very well could have put some pipe sealant on them, liquid pipe sealant. It don't have to be Teflon. Years ago, that's all I used. And then I started, they started making this real thick Teflon, and I liked the way it was, so I started using it. Hey, if the video was useful, you liked it, you saved some money, I explained it good, whatever it may have been, like it, subscribe, share it, you know, one of the 3 or all of the above. Thanks for watching.